What is going on, everybody? Welcome on into Jets Media Live here on Bleacher Report, talking about all things New York Jets, the latest offseason news, the latest rumors you need to know about, because there's some rumors swirling around Jets land about specific players getting traded. The Jets bring in a new kicker that I'm excited to talk about with you guys. And mandatory minicamp is over. Now it's the dead period for the New York Jets. And the anticipation for the season begins, folks. So welcome on in, everybody. Hope you're having a fantastic Wednesday, June 18th. Let's get straight into business right here, live, talking all things New York Jets. Now, there was a report that came out from ESPN that lists Breece Hall in the conversation to be traded. Now, I find this interesting. Okay, we're going to break it down. We're going to break it down, folks, because why would ESPN come out with this type of article? Why would this be a topic of conversation? Because according to ESPN, Breece Hall is a prime candidate to be dealt at the trade deadline if the Jets fall out of the playoff race. I find this very interesting. And we got to talk about this first and foremost, because I haven't had a chance to speak on it. And I think there's a lot that needs to be said. I'm a huge fan of Breece Hall, have been since the Jets drafted him. I think that the 6 games that he played as a rookie, of him dominating the league, let's not forget who Breece was as a rookie before he blew his knee up, unfortunately, with that ACL. And then in year number 2, he comes off of ACL surgery and is second in the NFL in scrimmage yards. Had to deal with the Aaron Rodgers injury. The offense was a mess. And then last season, the whole team was a mess. I think that we have not yet seen the best version of Breece Hall. I still think that the best version of Breece has yet to be seen. And I'm hopeful that that version of Breece is on the New York Jets, because I believe if the Jets decide to trade Breece Hall at any point, he is going to be an absolute baller wherever he goes. I'd rather him be a baller with the New York Jets. Now, why would he be a trade candidate? There's one reason and one reason only why he would be a trade candidate. Contract. Breece Hall is entering the last year of his deal. All we're doing is talking about Garrett Wilson getting extended. We're talking about Sauce Gardner getting extended. Nobody is bringing up Breece Hall getting extended, when he's the one that should be extended because he's entering his final year. Sauce and Garrett, they got 2 more years. So if there ever was somebody to extend, it's Breece. And the reason why we're not talking about Breece being extended is because he has not played to the same level as Garrett Wilson and Sauce. That's why it's not being talked about. And I think Jets fans want to see a little bit more from Breece before he gets extended long term. They want to see if he can fulfill his full potential. And I bet you Breece wouldn't even want to sign an extension right now, because if he did, it would be pretty cheap. It'd be affordable. It'd be a home run for the Jets, because he would not demand a lot of money if he signed an extension, because he has not broke out onto the scene just yet. And I think that the report is interesting. The important details of this report says if the Jets fall out of, if the Jets fall out and they're not in the playoff race by the trade deadline, he could be dealt. And I think there is an actual reality where that does make sense. And here it is. The New York Jets have to make a decision. Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn need to make a decision right now. Well, they don't got to make it right now. Let's let the season play itself out. They need to evaluate Breece Hall enough that they need to know by the deadline this year if Breece Hall is part of their long-term plans. Because if the New York Jets have no desire to give Breece Hall an extension after this year or franchise tagging him, then the business decision is to trade Breece at the deadline. If the Jets do not want to extend Breece Hall and they have another plan at running back, then they should trade him, because you want to get something out of your guy. You don't want him to walk for nothing. I don't want that to happen, but that's the scenario of this business of it's a cruel world, and Breece Hall understands that. He's coming into this offseason with a fantastic mindset. He really is. Everything he's saying in the media is great. He's got to prove himself to this coaching staff. I think that we're finally going to see what he's capable of this year. I think we're finally going to see a running back that we all fell in love with as a rookie, someone that is able to take the ball to the house every single time he touches it. He's a receiver out of the backfield. He's a 3-down back. I think the Jets are going to utilize him perfectly. So he's a franchise tag option. He can also be extended or walk or get traded. There's a lot of different scenarios. And that's why when people see that report, they get a little worried. They're like, why is Breece getting talked about? It's because of the contract. And you also got to make sure everyone is aware of this. Aaron Glenn told Breece Hall himself that you're not going anywhere. You're our running back. We're not trading you. And I think Breece Hall feeling that level of confidence from his head coach, that definitely probably felt good because he sees the trade rumors. Breece Hall sees his name right now in trade rumors of ESPN. He's like, why is my name being talked about? And it's up to Breece to be professional and to go about his business and try to light it up. This is a tough league. You got to be able to go out there and prove yourself. And I think Breece is going to do that this season. You look at the offensive line that the Jets put together, the dual threat ability of Justin Fields, a brand new coaching staff. There's no reason to believe that Breece Hall should be the focal point of this offense around Justin Fields, around Garrett Wilson. It should be Garrett Wilson. It should be the Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall show. It absolutely should. When you think of the 2025 New York Jets, this whole offense should be around Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, the two best playmakers on the team, around Justin Fields. Objectively, there's no one better than those two. Everybody's wondering, who's the number 2 receiver next to Garrett Wilson? It could be Breece if they utilize him properly. The guy is fantastic running routes out of the backfield. He has one of the most natural hands as a running back we've ever seen. You see that play against Tennessee last year in week 2? He mossed someone, went on a go route, and mossed the linebacker in the end zone for a touchdown. The guy is an absolute weapon, more than just a running back. So the Jets are hopefully going to utilize him properly, and hopefully the Jets are good by the deadline, and we don't even consider trading Breece. He's dominating, and we're hoping that the Jets extend him long-term. Who knows? But hey, man, this is a legit conversation that we need to have. This is something that Aaron Glenn is going to have to make a decision about. So we'll see, man. You guys let me know your thoughts. Is Breece Hall going to be a Jet beyond this season? Will he walk in free agency? Will he be franchise tagged? What is going to happen with Breece Hall? Sound off in the comments and let me know where you stand on the Breece Hall trade rumors, because I think it's very, very interesting. Now, we had another big-time news come out from Jetsland, and this is a really interesting one, folks. A very interesting one, because the Jets got a new kicker, baby. Oh, yeah, they did. You bet they got a new kicker. Harrison Memphis, who is also known as the thicker kicker, went 20 of 21 on field goals in the UFL from Missouri. Teammates with Armand Membu. Listen, man, this is a guy that the Jets brought in, and they replaced him with Andres Carlson, who was the Jets kicker last year. So there's an open kicking competition between Caden Davis, who is the undrafted free agent the Jets brought in, the rookie, and this player right here of Harrison Memphis. So that's the latest roster transaction we've seen from the New York Jets. The Jets need a kicker. We are looking for a franchise kicker. With Greg Zuerlein being officially gone, he was Greg the leg for a season, and then he fell off the face of the earth, and he was trash for us last year. No offense, Greg. Everything went south. Think about that real quick. Everything last year went south, besides Garrett Wilson. He was the only bright spot, really, and Will McDonald. But I digress. I think that Caden Davis versus Harrison Memphis is going to be a very interesting kicking competition. That tells you right away that Caden Davis beat Andres Carlson in that battle, so they didn't even want to bring Carlson into training camp. They're like, let's go find someone else to bring in for training camp because we want a good kicker, and I would love him to win this job. And imagine we got this thick boy out there being our kicker, because you know what else kickers got to do? They got to tackle sometimes. So let's go see him go out there and lay the boom. But in all seriousness, he's got a leg, bro. He can kick very far. He's got accuracy, and he's trying to make himself in this league. So I think that's a cool story. Wearing number 92 is very interesting for a kicker, and it fits. He's not going to be able to do that in the NFL. But, hey, let's do it. The heaviest kicker in football. Probably, I would assume so. I would definitely assume so. So you guys let me know your thoughts about this move, because I find it extremely interesting that the Jets went this route. You guys let me know your thoughts right now. If you agree with this move to bring him on in, because I find it extremely, extremely interesting that this guy is the man for the job. Now, there's other things we want to talk about. What's Justin Fields going to look like with this Jets football team? What's the latest on Justin Fields with the New York Jets? Because if you think about Justin Fields' time with the Jets so far, it's been relatively positive. And what I mean by that is it's early. We haven't gone through minicamp, or training camp rather, yet, so we can't really evaluate Justin Fields to its full capacity. But I'll tell you right now, man, there's been nothing but great things coming out from Justin Fields and from everything I'm hearing. And I think that is really good because he's finding connection with Josh Reynolds that we've seen early on. And you talk about who's going to emerge as the number 2 receiver. I think Josh Reynolds is the early candidate for that. But Justin Fields went out there and proved himself early on. His leadership. Now, the big question is, what is he going to look like when everything starts flying? Is he going to be able to process? And it feels like we're beating a dead drum where we talk about the same thing over and over again. But it's real. Like, is it going to click for him? Is he going to go out there on the football field representing the New York Jets and scan the defense the way he's supposed to? Is he going to be able to go out there and go through his progressions? And I think that's all on the coaching staff and, of course, Fields himself to be able to process the field and organize a legit offense. Okay, because the coaching staff has been amazed by Justin Fields so far. The work he's putting in, the accuracy he's putting on display. I think that you look at Justin Fields' upside, there's so many examples of quarterbacks like him just needing an opportunity and taking it and running with it. Look where Baker Mayfield is right now. The guy was going to be a journeyman until now he found a home in Tampa Bay. Sam Darnold was going to be a journeyman. He already is. He feels like he is a little bit. But he got paid by Seattle. He's their guy. Geno Smith, I mean, you guys know that there's a lot of quarterbacks out there that just needs another opportunity. Now, maybe this opportunity that Justin Fields it's not good enough, and he's just proving that he's just a good backup quarterback for the rest of his career. This is his opportunity, man. If Justin Fields wants to prove himself in this league, it's now or never for him. And I think he understands that there's a little bit of extra pressure on him. And the good news is he's got Aaron Glenn in his corner. Aaron Glenn absolutely believes in him. And I think that's important to note, that the belief in Aaron Glenn is real. And I hope you guys understand what I'm talking about. Because I think that if Aaron Glenn didn't genuinely believe in Justin Fields at the full capacity that we're all seeing, he would not be the guy. And I think that the belief that Aaron Glenn is instilling in Justin Fields, that's going to get the most out of Fields. Because you knew that when Fields went out there to be the starting quarterback for Pittsburgh, he knew that his days were numbered. No matter what he did, Russell Wilson's going to come in and steal his job when he's healthy. He was the backup. And now he's getting an opportunity to start. So which version of Justin Fields are we going to see? Is he going to start off slow and then break out later on? Is he going to show the same limitations? What I'm really intrigued about Justin Fields is when the game is on the line and the Jets are losing by 4 points and there's 5 minutes left in the game and we need to march down the field and score a touchdown to take the lead. Is he capable of stepping up in the clutch? Is he able to make enough plays? That's what I care about the most. I don't care about a 17-game statistical season of the X amount of touchdowns, this amount of turnovers. All that stuff is just numbers. I care about winning football games. Is Justin Fields going to play winning football? People say winning is not a quarterback stat. That's the only stat I care about with the New York Jets. I'm not looking at Fields to be a top 10 quarterback this year. All I'm looking for is wins, being competitive. Can you put your team in the right situations to succeed? He did that with Pittsburgh last year. He was 4-2. Could have been 5-1 if his defense got a stop for him after marching down the field and getting a touchdown against Dallas. And I hope people realize that that's what we need to evaluate Fields on. Can we win with him? Because what I don't want is for him to look good, but the Jets are just not winning. Right? The season where the Bears went 3-12 or whatever crazy record they had, 3-14, whatever, Fields wasn't trash. If you look at the numbers, he had over 1,000 rushing yards. He had decent numbers. DJ Moore went off that season, but the Chicago Bears was just a mess. And they will lose every game they played, no matter what Justin Fields did, whether he had a bad or good game. I don't want this to be a season where Fields plays well statistically, but the Jets win 4 games. I'd rather Fields play smart football, not light up the box score, somehow rely on the run game, control the clock, and win games. That's the only thing I'm looking at. Can you win with this pairing of Justin Fields and Aaron Glenn? That's what I'm excited about, man. That's what I'm excited about. And it starts with extending your own stars. What's the latest on the contract extensions of Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner, everybody? What is the latest? Okay, because I think that's a big discussion that a lot of Jets fans are holding their breath on. They're waiting. They're like, hey, when are we going to see this Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner news? Right? There's reports out there saying that the expectation as both of these guys will be extended by training camp. And that puts a lot of pressure. That puts a lot of pressure on the Jets now, in my opinion, because if they don't extend them, then there's going to be a big narrative around Jets at the training camp that we don't want. How come the Jets haven't extended Garrett yet? How come they haven't extended Sauce yet? Are we going to see some holdouts? I don't think we're going to see holdouts, but you never know. Things can go south in contract negotiations, and I really hope that doesn't happen. I'm really intrigued about the future of Garrett Wilson in particular. I think Garrett Wilson is going to have the best season of his career. We talked about it already. I feel like he needed a young guy like Justin Fields to unlock. You thought that Aaron Rodgers would get the most out of him, but let's be honest. Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, they never got along on the field. What I mean by that, they didn't see the game the right way. Even Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers were caught arguing at practice all the time. And I guarantee you what was happening was Aaron Rodgers was saying to Garrett Wilson, hey, I was expecting you here. Well, Garrett's like, well, I was here, so find me. I don't know. But it didn't work out. The good news is now there's someone extremely young that Garrett Wilson already has a chemistry with in Justin Fields. And I think Garrett Wilson needs a young guy to kind of get going, to get the ball rolling. And you look at what DJ Moore did with the Bears in Justin Fields' final season. He balled out at 1,300 yards. Was fantastic. So Justin Fields has proven that he's capable of giving a number one receiver the opportunity to be a baller. And I'm really excited to see what Garrett Wilson's capable of this season. I think we have not even seen the best version of him yet. I guarantee you that. And the Jets would be smart to extend him ASAP because the price is only going to go up from here. If they don't extend him now and they wait, the price is going to keep going up and up and up, man. Extend that man. Extend that man. Now, when it comes to Sauce Gardner, he's a little more complicated because what if the Jets are saying to him, hey, we want to see what you look like within our scheme before we want to pay you? I don't know. I mean, we heard a report that the Jets are in negotiations. They've reached out to Sauce's camp about a contract, and Sauce has been very open about extending long-term with the New York Jets. But I don't think there's anything that should get in the way with this. If the Jets extend both Sauce and Garrett Wilson before the start of training camp or just before the season, it's going to create such a positive vibe from the fan base and I guarantee within the organization. Because you know what that does? That tells the young guys on this roster that if you play to the level of Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson on this team, we will take care of you and we will pay you the contract that you deserve. That's how I look at it, man. It's setting a standard. It's setting a set discipline from an organizational perspective. From Darren Muji saying, hey, we want guys like this on our team that show up to practice the way that Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner do. The reason why they're getting this is not because they're holding out or anything. They're doing it the right way. They showed up for voluntary OTAs, mandatory minicamp. They easily could have held out, but they didn't. So these are the guys you want to build your team around, man. And now they're both entering their little prime of young vets. Now they got guys underneath them that they're teaching. Sauce got Azaria Thomas he can teach up. Garrett Wilson's got Malachi Corley, Arian Smith he can teach up, right? So I think that these guys are entering the prime, well, they're in the prime of their careers, and they're only getting better. This is the cornerstones, and they're also both in premium positions. In this league, you need to have a dynamic wide receiver. You need to have a lockdown corner. So the Jets have them both. Why not extend them so they're locked up? Their contracts are going to start kicking in when the salary cap goes up and up and up. So that's exciting, man. Getting them both locked up gets me excited. Do you guys think it's going to happen? And I know that we got to be patient, man. We got to let it happen. We got to let the process just play itself out. But the moment I see the breaking news, And I hope it happens at the same time. I hope that the report is the Jets extend both Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner for whatever the contract is. Both of them signed 4 more years, and everybody can be happy. Because if we sign one of them and not the other, it will not feel as fulfilled. And Sauce is a 2-time first-team All-Pro. Garrett Wilson has 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons. They both won Rookie of the Year in 2022 when they were drafted. They are all about the right things, on and off the field. I don't need to sell you guys on Sauce and Garrett. I also think the best is yet to come for them both. And I genuinely believe that. Sauce and Garrett bring off that star energy, and this team needs stars. This is a star-driven league. And we're hoping that they can stay put. And I think that the final, days of minicamp showed that this football team is all in with Aaron Glenn. And I think if you're a Jets fan, that should make you happy because Aaron Glenn is building something from the ground up, but at the same time, the ground is already not from scratch. And what I mean by that is the infrastructure that Joe Douglas built, some people got to give Douglas some credit. If the Jets succeed with Aaron Glenn faster than we expect, Douglas deserves credit. And I don't want to be that guy, but 90% of this roster was Joe Douglas's vision, especially the offensive line. Right? The only thing that Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji brought in is a new quarterback and, some new pieces like Josh Reynolds and the whole rookie class, of course, some free agents. But this is majority still Joe Douglas's team, and I'm excited about what Aaron Glenn's going to bring to the table. So that's the latest news and updates that you guys need to know about the New York Jets coming out of OTAs, mandatory minicamp. Now we're in this dead period. Training camp is going to begin, I believe, in a month. At the end of July, so make sure you guys stay tuned for content and stay tuned for news about that. And I think that if you're a Jets fan, man, the reasons to be optimistic about the season is be excited for change. Be excited for something new happening. That doesn't mean you got to expect them to be great and go out there and go on a winning streak that's going to shock the world, winning the AFC East. No. Throw all the expectations out, surrender to what this Jets team is about, which is establishing a new identity, and trust that this coaching staff with Aaron Glenn at the helm is capable of elevating these guys. Because I genuinely believe that the talent on this roster is real. And if this coaching staff is as good as we're hoping, then this Jets team can be better than some people think. You never know what's possible. This is a league that is very unpredictable. You never know what's possible. But I do love that we are being slept on and we are back to where we are comfortable. Nobody's expecting the Jets to do anything. The Jets are moving in silence, and that is where we want to be as Jets fans. No expectations. Just go into the season and let it flow. Let it ride. Because if the worst case scenario of Fields is a bust and the Jets win 5 games, we'll have a top pick for the next quarterback in a deep loaded 2026 draft class. I don't want that to happen, but if that is the case scenario, that's not the worst thing that could happen. We're not locked in Justin Fields long term. We did not commit to him being our franchise quarterback. He's here to prove himself. This is the best scenario for a first-year head coach. Bring in a young quarterback, first-round talent to prove himself in this league. Give him that chance. If he proves himself, great, you got your guy. But if he doesn't, all right, let's go into the draft and find our rookie quarterback in the 2026 class. We shall see, man. I really hope that they can pull it off with Justin Fields. So with that, let's go Jets, man. Let's go. We got some super chats to get into, man. Appreciate you guys tuning in. First is, if A-Rod is good in Pittsburgh, that will be the most Jets shit. Yeah, listen, I'm expecting, I don't know about you guys, but I'm expecting the Steelers to be good with Aaron Rodgers. I hope we can beat them week 1 at Jets Media Day. Make sure you guys get your tickets for Jets Media Day, baby, by the way. If you want to come through to that event, tickets on sale, link in description of the video. Make sure you guys come through. But I think that the expectation for the Steelers is they're going to be successful. The Steelers have never not had a winning season. Now, all of a sudden, they're not going to have one. Another super chat. Jets are lacking quarterback protection, have terrible coverage. Garrett Wilson is not a number 1 receiver. Defensive front is mid, and they lack leadership with a tough division. So that's a lot to unpack. I do disagree with some of this. The quarterback protection, that's yet to be seen. Olu Fashanu was absolutely fantastic in a very small sample size last season at protecting the quarterback. That's his strength. Armand Membu is one of the best, if not the best, pass protecting tackles in the league, in the draft, excuse me. And the offensive line, I think, is going to be better than you think. Garrett Wilson is 100% a number one receiver. 3 straight seasons with over 1,000 yards with bums at quarterback. So that's false. And defensive front is mid, and they lack leadership. The defensive front, that's going to be a big debate. I don't know. I'm not expecting them to be fantastic. Maybe you're right. They are mid. And the leadership, we'll see who emerges. And it is a tough division. So some things are right, some things are false in there. Charles Gorman, member for 30 months. Ray, Richie, how are things? Hey, things are great with me, Charles. Hope things are great with you, my friend. I hope things are great with you. How about that? How about that, my friend? How about that? So we're going to wrap up the show here, guys. I appreciate each and every single one of you guys tuning into this show. As always, we're about to be live on the AFC East Roundtable right after this. So come over there and talk some Jets on that show. Much love to everybody. As always, much love. See you guys next time. Let's go, Jets. Peace out.